You know that moment when a door opens and your entire life closes? Yeah, me neither, until a Thursday morning at Whole Foods turned into my personal episode of Dateline. Let me set the scene. I'm Edith Monroe, 34, digital marketing manager, dressed in my work-from-home but make-it-look-intentional outfit, leggings that cost more than they should, and a sweater that screams, I have my life together. Spoiler alert, I did not have my life together. I had a husband who supposedly had an 11 a.m. client meeting downtown, and a grocery list that included organic kale because apparently, I was still pretending to be the kind of person who eats kale. Thursday, March 14th, 11:07 in the morning. The automatic doors at the Whole Foods on Sharon Road slid open with that pneumatic whoosh, and there they were. My husband Griffin, 36-year-old sales director and part-time liar, with his arm wrapped around the waist of a 20-something brunette in athleisure that was definitely not from the clearance rack. She was laughing, he was smiling, and I was standing there holding a reusable shopping bag and the shattered remains of my denial. The brunette saw me first. She had that perky, golden retriever energy, head tilted, smile bright, completely oblivious to the fact that she was about to become a supporting character in someone else's divorce story. She looked at me, then at Griffin, then back at me, and asked with genuine curiosity, "Oh, hi, are you his ex?" Let me pause here to appreciate the absolute audacity of that question. The innocence. The assumption that if I were standing in a Whole Foods parking lot at 11 a.m. on a Thursday looking moderately put together, I must be ancient history. Not the current wife. Not the woman who'd been doing his laundry for 9 years. Griffin's face went through approximately 17 emotions in 2 seconds. Shock. Panic. The specific shade of pale that only comes from seeing your two worlds collide in the organic produce section of suburban Charlotte. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. He looked like a computer that just got the blue screen of death. I could have screamed. Could have thrown my reusable bag at his head. Could have caused a scene that would have ended up on someone's TikTok with a caption like Whole Foods drama gone wrong. But here's the thing about being a digital marketing manager. I know about virality. I know about timing. I know that the best content isn't created in the heat of the moment. It's crafted with precision, posted at optimal times, and designed for maximum engagement. So I smiled. That calm, terrifying smile that only comes from 9 years of marriage to a man who thinks working late is a personality trait. I looked directly at the brunette, who was starting to sense that maybe this wasn't a cute meet the ex situation, and said, "No, sweetie. I'm not his ex. I'm the current wife. But thank you so much for giving me the heads up about who's auditioning for the role." I turned on my J. Crew moccasins, because even in a crisis, I have standards, and walked back to my car. My hands were steady. My breathing was controlled. Inside, my brain was playing that sound effect from Kill Bill when Uma Thurman sees someone on her revenge list. The second I got in my car, the performance ended. My hands started shaking. I gripped the steering wheel and forced myself to think strategically. Griffin was probably standing in that parking lot right now, trying to explain to his golden retriever why his ex just called herself his wife. He'd be scrambling, making up stories, buying himself time. But time was the one thing I wasn't going to give him. I opened my banking app. We had 3 joint accounts, checking, savings, and one specifically for household expenses that Griffin loved to use for his post-work networking drinks. My thumbs moved fast. Freeze card, freeze card, freeze card. Every piece of plastic with his name on it was now as useful as a gift card to Blockbuster. Then I opened the Life 360 app. You know, that family tracking app that suburban parents use to make sure their teenagers aren't sneaking off to house parties? Griffin had insisted we download it a year and a half ago, right around when he started his health journey. He said it was for safety, that we should always know where each other are. How romantic, how controlling, how incredibly stupid in retrospect. Because here's what Griffin didn't consider. The app works both ways. And unlike him, I actually read the terms and conditions. I clicked on his profile. Then I clicked location history. The free version stores up to 6 months of data, and there it was. Every single Thursday for the past 6 months, all logged and timestamped. A beautiful damning pattern of dots clustered around the same 3 locations. A Marriott Courtyard off Highway 85, a sketchy extended stay motel near the airport, and my personal favorite, a luxury apartment complex that advertised short-term executive rentals and had a 2-star rating on Google. Every Thursday 10 a.m. to noon, sometimes 1 p.m. if he was feeling ambitious. Client meetings, right. The only thing he was closing was motel room doors. I took screenshots, lots of screenshots. I screen recorded the entire timeline. I downloaded the data file because I'm thorough like that. Then I opened WhatsApp and found the Monroe family group chat. All 43 members of Griffin's sprawling North Carolina family tree. Aunts, uncles, cousins, his mother Donna, who'd spent 9 years telling me I took her baby boy away from home, and his sister Marcy, who'd always been weirdly competitive with me. I typed carefully, "Hi everyone." Griffin asked me to share his weekly schedule with the family so we can all stay connected. Here's where he spends his Thursday mornings. Such a hard worker. And then I attached everything. Every screenshot. Every timestamp location. Every cozy little motel he thought nobody knew about. My finger hovered over the send button for exactly 3 seconds. Then I pressed it. And I watched the chaos unfold in real time. Delivered. 43 check marks. 43 family members who were about to have their Thursday morning coffee ruined. My phone started buzzing immediately. Calls from Griffin. Texts from Griffin. A voice message that started with, "Edith, I can explain." I didn't listen to the rest. I blocked his number. Then I ordered a cold brew from the Starbucks app and turned off my phone's ringer. Because revenge, like good marketing, requires patience. And I was just getting started. Here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens in 1,000 tiny moments you convince yourself don't matter. And I'm about to take you through every single one of them, because hindsight isn't just 20/20. It's high definition with director's commentary. Let me rewind to about 18 months ago. Griffin started this new health kick. Suddenly, the guy who thought walking from the couch to the fridge was cardio was waking up at 6 a.m. for gym sessions. He bought protein powder. He started meal prepping chicken and broccoli in those sad little containers that scream, "I'm having a midlife crisis, but make it fitness." I thought it was cute. Supportive wife that I was, I even encouraged it. Good for you, babe. Taking care of yourself. Meanwhile, he wasn't getting healthy for me. He was getting in shape for someone whose idea of a romantic date was probably a couple's boot camp class. The gym membership, LA Fitness on Providence Road. Want to guess who works there as a personal trainer? Gold star if you said Paige. The same Paige who was besties with Griffin's sister Marcy. The same Marcy who'd spent 9 years making passive-aggressive comments about my career, my cooking, and my decision to keep my maiden name on my email signature. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The signs were there. Oh, they were absolutely there. Written in neon letters that apparently only I couldn't see. Or maybe I could see them. But I'd been gaslit so thoroughly that I'd convinced myself I was being paranoid, insecure, one of those wives. Thursday became his busiest day, every single week, like clockwork. He'd leave the house at 9:30, dressed in his meeting clothes, the expensive button-down I'd bought him for his birthday, the cologne that cost more than our electric bill, the watch his mother gave him that he only wore for important occasions. "Big client today," he'd say, kissing my forehead like I was his grandmother. "Might run late. Don't wait up for lunch." And I didn't, because I was working from home, managing social media campaigns for a tech startup, dealing with my own deadlines and Zoom meetings. I was busy, independent, the kind of wife who didn't need to track her husband's every move because we had trust. Spoiler alert, we had jack squat. The phone thing started around the same time. Griffin became surgically attached to his iPhone. It went everywhere with him. Bathroom, kitchen, even on our weekend walks with Rex, our golden retriever who had more loyalty in one paw than Griffin had in his entire body. Face down, always face down, on the counter, on the nightstand, on the coffee table, like he was protecting classified government secrets instead of just hiding texts from someone saved in his contacts with a code name. "It's just my gym accountability partner," he'd said when I asked once, laughing like I was being ridiculous. "We send each other workout stats. It's motivating." "Sure, Griffin. I'm sure can't wait to see you Thursday with a kissy face" is totally a normal way to discuss your bench press numbers. The family dynamics got weird too. His sister Marcy started inviting me to things with this overly sweet voice that felt like artificial sweetener. Technically nice, but with a suspicious aftertaste. "Girls' brunch this Saturday. You should totally come." Then she'd spend 2 hours talking about her friend Paige. How dedicated she was. How inspiring. How she was like basically family at this point. I sat there eating overpriced avocado toast, smiling and nodding, while Marcy literally described the woman sleeping with her brother. The audacity, the absolute shamelessness of it all. And Griffin's mother? Donna decided around month 6 of the affair that I was suddenly worth talking to. 9 years of cold shoulders and passive-aggressive comments about grandchildren melted into invitations to coffee and questions about my job. I thought we were finally bonding. Nope, she was just gathering intel. Making sure I was busy enough on Thursdays that I wouldn't notice her son was auditioning for Cheaters, Suburban Dad Edition. The money got weird too. Our joint account started showing charges I didn't recognize. Venmo payments to various initials for dinner and expenses. Never mind that we had a perfectly functional kitchen and I'd meal prepped enough chicken to feed a small village. When I asked about it, Griffin got defensive. "It's client entertainment, Edith. It's literally my job. Do you want me to stop making money?" Classic manipulation. Turn it around. Make me the unreasonable one for asking why he was spending $200 on client dinners every Thursday when his calendar said he was in internal meetings. But the worst part? The absolute worst part was how invisible I became in my own marriage. Griffin would come home from his meetings and go straight to his phone. Dinner became 20 minutes of him scrolling while I talked to the wall. Date nights disappeared. The last time he'd initiated any kind of physical affection was, actually, I couldn't remember. And when I brought it up, he'd sigh like I was being needy. "I'm stressed, Edith. Work is intense. Can you just give me some space?" Space. He wanted space. Meanwhile, he was spending every Thursday morning in a Marriott courtyard giving someone else the opposite of space. I started noticing the pattern around February. How he'd shower as soon as he got home on Thursdays. How he'd do his own laundry suddenly. Just trying to help out, babe. When he'd never touched the washing machine in 9 years. How his car smelled like perfume that definitely wasn't mine. Victoria's Secret bombshell, if we're being specific. I know because Marcy wore the same one. But every time I got close to asking the real questions, Griffin had an explanation ready. He was prepared, rehearsed. Like he'd been practicing his lines in the mirror. "That's from the coffee shop. They always spray those weird air fresheners. I showered at the gym. Their water pressure is better. I'm doing laundry because I love you and want to contribute more." Lies, all lies. Wrapped in just enough plausibility that I talked myself out of my own instincts. You know what the real kicker is? Last month, February 14th, Valentine's Day, Griffin brought me flowers from Harris Teeter. Grocery store carnations still in the plastic sleeve with the price tag on them. $12.99 worth of effort. He handed them to me, kissed my cheek, and said, "Happy Valentine's Day, babe. Sorry I've been so busy lately. You know I love you, right?" And I said yes. I said yes because I wanted it to be true. Because I'd invested 9 years in this marriage. Because admitting I'd been wrong about him meant admitting I'd wasted my entire 20s on a man who thought love was a $12 bouquet and lies. That same week, I saw a charge on our credit card. February 12th, 2 days before Valentine's Day. Mimosa Grill, a French restaurant in Uptown Charlotte, where reservations cost more than our monthly utilities. When I asked about it, Griffin said it was a client dinner. Big contract. Had to impress them. Funny how his client warranted $150 per person restaurant, and I got gas station flowers. But sure, I was the one being unreasonable. I was the one who didn't understand how sales worked. I was the one who needed to be more supportive of his career. The Thursday before the Whole Foods incident, Griffin came home with a hickey on his neck. A visible, purple, teenage hormone-level hickey that he tried to cover with the collar of his shirt. I saw it when he was loading the dishwasher. Another sudden burst of helpfulness that should have been a red flag the size of Texas. "What happened to your neck?" I asked, casual as possible. He touched it, panicked for half a second, then recovered. That? Weird reaction to my razor. Been using a new brand. Might be allergic. A razor burn on the side of his neck. Where razors don't go unless you're shaving like an absolute maniac. I nodded, smiled, went back to my laptop, and started planning. Because here's what Griffin didn't understand about being married to someone who works in digital marketing. I know how to research. I know how to gather data. I know how to build a case that's so airtight, you'd need a crowbar to find a loophole. So when those automatic doors opened at Whole Foods on March 14th, and I saw him with his arm around Paige, I wasn't shocked. I was vindicated, and I was ready. The explosion I'd been sitting on for months was about to go nuclear, and Griffin had no idea that his Thursday morning routine just became his biggest mistake. So there I was, sitting in my car outside Whole Foods with 43 family members about to discover that their beloved Griffin wasn't closing deals. He was closing motel room curtains. My phone was blowing up. 12 missed calls in 3 minutes. A new record, even for the Monroe Family Drama Olympics. I let it ring, because here's what they don't teach you in marriage counseling. Sometimes the best response is strategic silence. Let them panic. Let them scramble. Let them realize that the quiet wife they'd underestimated for 9 years just became the loudest person in the room without saying a single word. I drove home, our home. The 3-bedroom Craftsman in Myers Park that was 100% in my name because Griffin's credit score was lower than his emotional intelligence. I'd bought it 4 years ago with my own down payment while he was building his portfolio, which apparently meant building a collection of excuses. Rex met me at the door, tail wagging, completely unaware that his dad was a lying sack of disappointment. I scratched behind his ears and said, "Guess who's about to become a single-parent household buddy?" He licked my hand. Dogs are better than people. This is not up for debate. I made myself a coffee, the expensive kind from the French press that Griffin always complained was too much effort, and sat down at my home office desk. Time to do what I do best, research, strategize, and destroy someone's reputation with nothing but facts and a solid Wi-Fi connection. First stop, Life 360 data. I'd already downloaded the last 6 months of Thursday locations, but I needed more context. I cross-referenced every address with Google Maps, read reviews, checked average room rates. The Marriott Courtyard, $130 a night. The extended stay place near the airport, $85 for a weekly rate. Quick math, Griffin had been spending roughly $500 a month on accommodations alone for 18 months, that's $9,000. On rooms he stayed in for 2 hours maximum. But wait, there's more. I logged into our credit card accounts, all of them, including the one Griffin thought was his, but was actually just an authorized user card on my account. More restaurants, more Venmo payments with cryptic descriptions like dinner reimbursement and gym equipment, which I'd later connect directly to Paige through cross-referencing payment dates with her Instagram posts of new jewelry and restaurant visits. Didn't I mention? I'd been doing homework, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, I found everything. Paige graduated from UNC Charlotte with a degree in exercise science. She'd been working at LA Fitness for 3 years. Her Instagram was public, mistake number 1, and full of gym selfies, motivational quotes about becoming your best self, and several photos with my husband that she'd conveniently never tagged him in. Smart girl, not smart enough. One photo from January showed her at a coffee shop, Amelie's French Bakery in Uptown, wearing a bracelet I recognized immediately because I'd watched Griffin order it online. He told me it was for his mom's birthday. Donna's birthday is in October, this was January. Another photo from February 14th, Valentine's Day, the same day I got grocery store carnations, showed Paige at Mimosa Grill, the same restaurant that showed up on our credit card. She'd captioned it, "Best Valentine's Ever," with a champagne glass and a rose. The comments were even better. Marcy had written, "You deserve this, babe, so happy for you," his own sister, congratulating his mistress. On Valentine's Day, using our money, I screenshotted everything, saved it to 3 different cloud storage accounts because I'm not an amateur. Then I started building what I like to call my evidence portfolio. Document 1, financial timeline showing $9,000 in accommodation expenses over 18 months that coincided perfectly with Paige's work schedule at LA Fitness. Document 2, location data proving Griffin was never at the office, never at client sites, always at budget hotels during business hours. Document 3, social media evidence showing Paige wearing gifts purchased on our joint accounts. Document 4, text message records I'd pulled from our phone carrier account. Another thing Griffin forgot was in my name. Turns out when you're the primary account holder, you can request records. Who knew? Well, I did, because I read terms and conditions like normal people read novels. 3,000 texts over 18 months to one specific number. I cross-referenced it with Griffin's contacts. He'd left his phone unlocked once during a shower and found it saved as Marcus H. His supposed college buddy, he was helping with job applications. Marcus, sure Griffin, very convincing, especially since the number matched Paige's area code. Sample text from the carrier records, dated March 7th. Can't wait to see you Thursday. Wear that thing I like. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess Marcus doesn't own lingerie. While I was building my case, my phone kept vibrating. Griffin had moved on from calling to texting. "Edith, please. This isn't what it looks like. Can we just talk? You're being crazy." Yes, there it was, crazy. The word men use when they've been caught and need to make you doubt your own sanity. The word that means, I've run out of lies and now I'm going to attack your credibility. I blocked him on everything except email. I'd need that paper trail for the lawyer. Then I called my best friend Harper, a family law attorney who'd been telling me for 2 years that Griffin was giving off energy. I didn't ask what kind of energy, I should have. Harper speaking, I need a divorce lawyer, preferably you, definitely today. Silence. Then, I'll clear my afternoon. Send me everything you have. I sent her the whole portfolio, 47 pages of organized, time-stamped, cross-referenced evidence that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. She called back in 20 minutes. "Edith, this is the most thorough documentation of infidelity I've ever seen. Did you go to law school and not tell me?" "No, I just have Google and trust issues. We're filing tomorrow." North Carolina is a no-fault state, but this will help with asset division and spousal support. Or in this case, lack thereof for him. Music to my ears. Next call, a locksmith. I scheduled them for tomorrow afternoon while Griffin was at work, his real work, the job where he actually got paid to lie to people professionally. Then I called our mortgage company and confirmed what I already knew. The house was solely mine. Griffin wasn't on the deed, wasn't on the mortgage, had exactly zero legal claim to the property he'd been living in rent-free while spending our money on roadside motels. I updated all my passwords. Bank accounts, email, streaming services, even the grocery delivery app. Changed the Netflix profile from Griffin and Edith to just Edith. Petty? Absolutely. Satisfying? Immensely. By 4 p.m., I had a lawyer, a locksmith appointment, a restraining order application ready to file if needed, and a detailed financial separation plan that would leave Griffin with exactly what he'd contributed to our household, approximately nothing. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Donna, Griffin's mother. Edith, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is unacceptable. You can't just air family business like this. We need to talk this through like adults. I typed back, Donna, your son spent $9,000 of my money on hotels and his mistress while you helped cover for him. The only thing we need to talk about is whether you want your casserole dish back before I donate it. Send. Block. Marcy texted next. You're tearing this family apart. Paige is like a sister to me. This is so unfair. Marcy, she's more than a sister to you. She's your sister-in-law now. Congratulations on the upgrade. Lose my number. Send. Block. The group chat I'd sent the evidence to was up to 312 messages. I didn't read them. Didn't need to. I'd said what I needed to say. The rest was just noise. Griffin tried one more time, showing up at the house around 7 p.m. I watched him through the window. He looked awful. Good. He knocked, called my name. Rex barked at him like the good boy he was. I opened the door exactly 6 inches, keeping the chain lock engaged. Edith, please, let me explain. Griffin, I've spent 9 years listening to your explanations. I'm full. Go explain yourself to your family. Or better yet, go explain to Paige why you're suddenly homeless and broke. This is my house too. Actually, it's not. Check the deed. Your name appears exactly 0 times, kind of like your contributions to this marriage. His face went from pale to red. You can't just kick me out. Watch me. You have until tomorrow at 5 p.m. to get your things while I'm conveniently out. Anything left after that becomes Rex's chew toys. Have a blessed day. I closed the door, locked it, triple-checked the locks. Then I poured myself a glass of the expensive wine Griffin had been saving for a special occasion and toasted to myself because the special occasion was today. The day I stopped being the understanding wife and became the woman who knew exactly what she was worth. And it definitely wasn't $12 flowers. Friday morning, March 15th, the day I became legally single looked exactly like every other day, except better. I woke up at 7 a.m., made coffee in my French press, and took Rex for a walk around the neighborhood. No Griffin snoring in the guest bedroom he'd claimed 6 months ago because of his back problems. No passive-aggressive notes about dishes. Just me, my dog, and the satisfying knowledge that I was about to ruin several lives before lunchtime. Harper met me at the courthouse at 9. She'd prepared everything overnight, a woman after my own heart. The filing fee was $225, best money I'd ever spent, better than our wedding, which cost $17,000 and featured a 7-tier cake that Griffin's mother insisted on, even though neither of us liked fondant. How are you feeling? Harper asked as we walked up the steps. Like I should have done this 3 years ago when he forgot our anniversary because he was at a sales conference in Asheville. That tracks, sign here, here, and here. I signed. My signature looked confident, aggressive even. The pen felt like a sword. By 9:45, Griffin Monroe was officially being served divorce papers. North Carolina requires either personal service or certified mail. I chose personal service at his office during his weekly sales meeting because I'm thoughtful like that. Harper had hired a process server who looked like he'd walked off the set of a legal drama, 6'2", official vest, clipboard that meant business. He walked into Sales Tech Solutions at exactly 10 a.m. and asked for Griffin Monroe in front of 12 colleagues and his boss. I know this because Griffin's coworker Dennis, who I'd always liked and who apparently had always hated Griffin, texted me a play-by-play. Dennis, server just walked in. Griffin's face is white. Dennis, boss asked what's going on. Griffin said personal matter and went to the conference room. Dennis, he's back. Looks like he's going to throw up. Everyone's staring. Dennis, he just left. Said he's taking a sick day. What did you do? I said back one word, justice. Then I blocked Griffin's work email from my contacts and moved on with my day like a functional human being who doesn't derive her self-worth from men who think Marriott courtyards are romantic. The Monroe family group chat, which I'd left immediately after sending the evidence but could still see through a mutual cousin screenshot updates, was in absolute meltdown mode. Donna had sent 14 messages trying to organize an intervention for me. Marcy was defending Paige like she was on a debate team. Various aunts and uncles were split between Team Griffin and Team Edith. Uncle Barry, bless him, had written, "I always knew that boy was slippery. Edith, you're better off. Want me to slash his tires?" I appreciated the offer but declined through my cousin relay system. Meanwhile, Griffin's Instagram, which he rarely used because he said social media was for attention seekers, suddenly went private. Too late, buddy. I'd already downloaded every photo of him and Paige that she'd posted and untagged, all 23 of them spanning 18 months. My personal favorite was from July of last year. Griffin and Paige at Lake Norman, her in a bikini, him in board shorts I'd bought him for our anniversary trip to Myrtle Beach. The same trip he'd cancelled last minute because of work emergencies. The location tag said Lake Norman. His life 360 that week said Lake Norman. I'd believed his lie about a team building retreat. The evidence was literally geotagged and I'd still talked myself out of the truth. But that was old Edith. New Edith weaponized information. I posted the Lake Norman photo to my Instagram story. My account with 473 followers, including 17 of Griffin's coworkers, both his parents, and approximately 70% of Myers Park social scene. Caption, throwback to when my husband said he was at a work retreat, but was actually auditioning for Bachelor in Paradise, Cheater Edition. 312 views in 20 minutes, 46 messages of support. 18 messages from people asking if I was okay. 5 messages from women saying Griffin had hit on them at various Charlotte social events over the years. 5. I compiled those messages into a single screenshot and sent them to Harper with a note. Adding to the file, she responded, "You're terrifying, I love it." By noon, Griffin had tried calling me 17 times from different numbers. His mom's phone, Marcy's phone, random numbers I didn't recognize. I answered exactly none of them. Instead, I met Harper for lunch at The Porch, a restaurant in South End where I knew Griffin's boss sometimes ate. We sat on the patio, ordered expensive salads, discussed asset division like we were planning a corporate merger. "The house is yours outright," Harper confirmed. "Car in your name?" "Both cars, I bought them." "Retirement accounts?" "Separate, mine's substantially larger because I actually contribute to it." "Joint savings?" "Already transferred to my personal account this morning." "All legally obtained funds from my salary." Harper raised her wine glass. To financial independence and men who underestimate spreadsheets, we clinked glasses just as Griffin's boss walked past our table. He saw me, I saw him see me. He gave me a sympathetic nod that said, "I heard what happened and your husband is an idiot." I smiled back. One of those smiles that says, "Thank you for witnessing my victory lap." The afternoon brought more entertainment. Paige's Instagram went private too. Her personal training client reviews at LA Fitness started getting interesting comments. Nothing explicitly against policy, just questions like, "Do you maintain professional boundaries with married clients?" And "Is couples fitness training a specialty?" I didn't leave those comments. I would never. But I didn't stop other people from expressing their curiosity about professional ethics in the fitness industry. By 3 p.m., the LA Fitness location on Providence Road had received 14 calls asking about their code of conduct policies. I know this because one of my yoga instructor friends worked there and called me laughing so hard she could barely breathe. "Edith, what did you do?" Corporate called an emergency meeting. They're reviewing Paige's client interactions. I simply shared factual information about my personal life on my personal social media. I can't control how people choose to respond to facts. "You're diabolical." "Thank you." The locksmith came at 4 p.m. as scheduled. New locks, new garage code, new sense of security. Cost, $340, worth, priceless. Griffin showed up at 4.30 to collect his things. I wasn't there. I'd scheduled a massage for exactly this window because self-care is important when you're dismantling someone's entire existence. I'd left him boxes in the garage, labeled them even clothes, toiletries, lies, audacity. The last two were empty. He could fill them himself. My security camera caught him loading his car. He looked defeated, smaller somehow, like someone had let the air out of his ego. And all that was left was a 36-year-old man realizing he'd gambled his marriage on someone who wore gym clothes as formal wear. He tried the front door. New locks. Tried the garage code. Changed. Stood there for a full minute looking at his phone like it might have answers. It didn't. I'd blocked him everywhere that mattered. Finally, he loaded his boxes and left. Drove his Lexus, the one I'd co-signed for because his credit was terrible, down the street and out of my life. The security footage timestamp said 5:07 p.m. I saved it. Titled the file freedom.mp4. That night, I ordered Thai food from my favorite place that Griffin always said was too spicy. I ate it on the couch that was now just my couch. Rex curled up next to me, his head on my lap, completely content in our new normal. My phone buzzed. Donna, from a number I hadn't blocked yet. You've destroyed this family. I hope you're happy. I typed back slowly, carefully, making sure every word landed exactly where I wanted it. Donna, I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped pretending the foundation wasn't already cracked. Your son destroyed his marriage when he decided hotel rooms were more important than his wife. I just took out the trash before it started to smell worse. Have the life you deserve. Send, block. I deleted the entire Monroe family from my contacts. All 43 of them. Watched their names disappear one by one like I was Marie Kondo ing my phone, and they absolutely did not spark joy. The group text from my actual friends was up to 98 messages of support. Plans for girls' nights. Offers to help me burn Griffin's remaining belongings. Suggestions for dating apps I wasn't ready for but appreciated anyway. Harper sent one final text. Official court date is set for 60 days out. Standard waiting period. He can't contest anything without looking even worse than he already does. You're basically done. 60 days. 2 months. Less time than Griffin had spent lying to me about Thursday mornings. I could wait. I'd waited 9 years for him to become the man he'd promised to be. I could wait 60 days to officially not be his problem anymore. And in the meantime, I had a life to rebuild. One that didn't include explaining charges, tracking locations, or pretending grocery store flowers were romance. I raised my wine glass to Rex. To new beginnings, buddy, and to automatic doors that show you exactly who people really are. He wagged his tail. Best response I'd gotten from a male in years. 60 days later, Wednesday, May 14th to be exact. I stood in the same courthouse where I'd filed for divorce and watched a judge sign the papers that made me legally single. The whole thing took 11 minutes. 9 years of marriage dissolved faster than Griffin's alibis. Harper handed me the final decree. Congratulations, you're officially free. I looked at the document. My name, Edith Monroe, soon to be back to Edith Clark, my maiden name. Clean, simple, mine. How do you feel? Harper asked. Like I just finished a really long, really boring movie that everyone said would get better, but never did. She laughed. We celebrated with coffee from the courthouse cafe, because I had a client meeting at 2. And day drinking seemed like Griffin's strategy, not mine. So here's what happened in those 60 days while I waited for the legal system to catch up with my decision. Griffin moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Pineville, the kind of complex that offers move-in specials and has a pool that's always slightly too cold. 3 weeks after I stopped paying the note, his Lexus got repossessed. Turns out co-signers can do that. By mid-April, Dennis informed me Griffin had been demoted from sales director to senior account manager. Smaller territory, smaller commission, smaller ego to match his smaller life. Paige lost her job at LA Fitness in early April, not because of anything I did directly. I want to be very clear about that, but because 14 complaints about professional boundaries triggered a corporate investigation that revealed she'd been dating 3 different married clients over 2 years. Griffin wasn't special. He was just another Thursday appointment who thought he was getting personalized attention when really, he was getting a discounted group rate on delusion. She's working at a boutique gym in Fort Mill now, across the state line in South Carolina. The commute from Charlotte is brutal, I hear. Shame. Marcy stopped speaking to Griffin entirely once the truth came out. Turns out Paige had been feeding Marcy a completely different story, that she was dating a divorced sales executive named Grant, who was nothing like Griffin. Marcy never connected the dots because Paige deliberately kept them separate, refusing to introduce her boyfriend to her best friend for privacy reasons. When Marcy saw the evidence in the family group chat and realized Grant was Griffin, the friendship imploded faster than Griffin's credit score. Last I heard through the Suburban Gossip Network, Marcy unfollowed both of them on social media and got a therapist. Growth looks good on her. Donna tried to reconcile with me exactly once. She showed up at my door in April with a casserole and an apology that started with, "I know you think," which is never how real apologies start. I thanked her for the casserole, told her I'd already donated her dish, and suggested she work on her relationship with honesty before trying to repair her relationship with me. She hasn't been back. The casserole went to Rex. He has no standards and all the loyalty. The house, my house, got a fresh coat of paint, sage green. I'd wanted that color for 3 years, but Griffin said it was too trendy. Turns out when you remove the person who shoots down all your ideas, you get to live in a home that actually feels like yours. Revolutionary concept. I got a promotion at work, senior marketing director, 20% raise. Turns out when you're not spending emotional energy managing a man-child's lies, you have bandwidth for actual career advancement. My boss said I seemed more focused lately. I told her I'd cut out some toxic elements from my life. She assumed I meant sugar. Close enough. Rex, my 5-year-old golden retriever, who's been the only male in my life with consistent loyalty, is thriving. We take walks every Thursday at 11 a.m. Same route every time. Past the Whole Foods on Sharon Road, through the parking lot where the automatic doors opened and changed everything. It's become our ritual. A reminder that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best decisions. I haven't dated anyone. Haven't wanted to. I spent 9 years trying to fix a broken relationship, and I'm taking time to remember what it feels like to not be disappointed on a daily basis. Turns out, it feels incredible. My married friends keep trying to set me up. I keep politely declining and reminding them that I have a house, a career, a dog, and zero interest in someone else's mediocre son, who thinks the bare minimum is peak performance. I will date again, eventually. But my standards are now higher than Griffin's lies, which is to say, astronomically elevated. The next man who enters my life will have to demonstrate basic competency and honesty, emotional availability, and understanding that flowers from actual florists exist. If that's too much to ask, I'm perfectly content being single forever. Someone asked me last week if I regretted the way I handled everything. If I thought I was too harsh with the public exposure and the family group chat evidence dump. Here's my answer. No, not even a little bit. Griffin had 18 months to come clean, 18 months to choose honesty over convenience. He chose poorly. I chose documentation. In the game of consequences, I played with the only cards he dealt me, his own actions. People love to preach about taking the high road like it's some moral obligation to quietly absorb disrespect. But sometimes the high road is just a longer route to the same destination. And I had places to be, like therapy and target practice for my newly discovered hobby of archery. Highly recommend it for anyone processing anger in healthy, productive ways. The divorce taught me something important. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And I've achieved expert-level indifference toward Griffin Monroe. He's a stranger who once had access to my life and no longer does, that's it. No dramatic feelings, no lingering anger, just a factual acknowledgement that he existed, messed up, and got removed like expired food from a refrigerator. I saw him once after the divorce finalized, Target parking lot. He was getting into a different car, something older, more affordable, more appropriate for his new reality. He saw me, I saw him see me. I didn't wave, didn't acknowledge him, just loaded my groceries and drove away in my fully paid-off car toward my fully paid-off house with my fully intact dignity. That's the thing about automatic doors. They open, you walk through, and they close behind you. What's on the other side might be exactly what you needed to see, even if you didn't want to see it. So here I am, 34 years old, divorced, homeowner, dog mom, senior marketing director, living in a sage greenhouse that smells like my candles. Eating Thai food that's never too spicy, and spending Thursday mornings exactly how I want to spend them. Every week at 11 a.m., I walk through those automatic doors at Whole Foods. Sometimes I buy flowers, sometimes just coffee, always for myself. Because the best revenge isn't elaborate schemes or public humiliation or viral social media posts, though those certainly don't hurt. The best revenge is becoming so genuinely happy that your ex's existence becomes completely irrelevant to your joy. And trust me, that door still opens just fine.